Backhand, again, should always stand square to the line of play, perpendicular to the line of play. So if I'm playing the ball directly down the diagonal, my feet directly square, pointing in exactly the position that I want to play the ball to. Okay? And likewise, if I'm going down the line, I'll be directly square to playing the ball. Very important that. It's one of the most important things when doing the backhand at first. Because common is this, which is, well, what's wrong with that? Give me some ideas.
You can't do a forehand, yeah?
No, forehand's very, very restricted now, isn't it? Yeah. And because you're leading with one shoulder, it's very difficult to get the straightness of the shot as well. That's why it's all got to be facing.
Yeah, exactly where the ball's going.
Yeah, so you've got exactly the same movement every time. And that movement, primarily, is coming from the elbow. That's the only movement to create a backhand. At first, anyway. As we get slightly better, and children will start to use the backhand anyway, just naturally, but at first, if we can eliminate use of the wrist too much and make that use from the elbow, because the elbow is where the control comes from. The more you can control the speed of the elbow, even if it's just a slow movement there, if that movement is the same every time, then you'll start to develop the same shot, therefore a better rhythm when you're playing. But I always say start from the stomach as well. If you can put the back flat on the belly.
Mark, just one thing, when you're showing there, you went like this.
Yeah.
You're supposed to go more up, or still coming across with...
Did I go across?
You did, I don't know, you did
right.
for the exercise.
I'm trying to go straight forward. So you're following a line.
If you follow through on an angle then?
Yeah.
Straight up?
No, forward rather than up. Sometimes you'll need to go up more if it's a backspin, if you're playing against a backspin, because you need to create more topspin to get over there. But the action still should be forward, through an imaginary line from the centre of the body. So you're going straight through that line. Like a common one is to go across the line. Yeah. It's obviously harder to go across the line than it is to go through the middle of the line. It's like cricket, isn't it? If somebody goes across, it's harder than if it goes straight through. Same principle. So we're going directly straight with the elbow. And if we're not going against backspin, like now we're just doing against float and topspin, and we don't need to go up as much yet, we just need to go forward. And the bat should always finish with the forehand side facing upwards, so it's over there. So when you contact, your bat should have a closed angle, and then you're going through.
So at the end of that shot, then really, you do actually almost get it.
It's just a
Yeah.
straight wrist.
Eventually, yeah, use your wrist. Yeah. I mean, you could keep your wrist locked and it'd still end up like that. My wrist is not moving now.
Or down.
Or go down.
Just like that.
It's just turning over, isn't it? Because of that rotation of the elbow.
Are you going up? See?
Let's try that. And obviously it's not going to come exactly to the middle every time. That's why we're putting the weight on our knees, we've got legs bent. So if the ball does come slightly to one side or slightly to the other, that's when we can transfer our weight from one side to the other to compensate for the slight off movement. Instead of actually, we haven't got time to physically lift our feet up and move them. We'll just sway from there. Within reason, obviously, if it goes to the middle, you might have to step across a bit more and drop one shoulder a bit. But the better the player, the more he will be able to move from one leg to another to cover. So it means they don't have to actually move the feet. They're still in a position where they can play a shot.
I noticed you've got a real pronounced crouch.
Yeah,
from the
quite a
legs. Is that
wide
normal?
stance.
Is that normal? Or recommended or?
I think I'm slightly wider than my height.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's nothing. As long it's pretty much down to the individual as well.
Yeah.
As long as it's not too narrow, which means that they're off balance. That's what people will stand like that, and obviously if you move, you can't get the level of movement from one side, you can't get the range, and obviously you're a lot more off balance the more the narrower your stance is, the base is a lot more off balance. So yeah, I'd recommend just wider,
Much
the better.
wider nowadays.
Always say the wider the better, because it's very difficult to get somebody to adopt a really wide stance anyway, because everybody wants to stand quite upright.